Hello everyone, I'm Elise and I'd just like to thank you for joining our webinar today. It's going to be on targeted social media campaigns that work for SEO, and Kayla Strong is actually going to present for us, and I'm just the host. We're going to just wait a couple of minutes. We had over 300 registrants for this event, so I'm going to give them a couple of minutes to get on the line and get settled in, and I'll be back with you to kick it off in just a couple. Hello again, this is Elise Redland-Cook at Vertical Measures. I just want to thank you for your patience. We did have over 300 registrants today, so I just want to give them one more minute to get settled, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, everyone, thanks for your patience again, and welcome to our targeted social media campaigns that work for SEO webinar. My name is Elise, and I'm an Internet Marketing Specialist at Vertical Measures. If you haven't heard of Vertical Measures or don't know too much about us, we're a strategic Internet marketing company located in Phoenix, Arizona, and we offer link building, SEO, content marketing, social media marketing, and lots of other great services for varying sizes of businesses worldwide. I'm just going to be your host for today, and Kayla Strong, our social media architect, is actually going to be presenting for you. Are you on the line, Kayla?
I am.
Hi there. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, thanks. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Finally warming up out here. I just want to let everyone know that the presentation is going to be about 45 minutes long, and feel free to go ahead and type in any questions that you might have, and we'll see if we can address them at the end of the presentation. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Kayla.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I don't think that I have control of the presentation yet. Let me see here. So maybe work on that a little bit now. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Okay, great. All right, so I'm so glad that so many of you are interested in targeted social media for SEO. We all know that it's a pretty big topic right now. Social media has been all over the blogosphere. It's been all over the web. It's really something that none of us can really ignore. So I'll go ahead and get started. I just wanted to start off the presentation with kind of a couple of statistics. 175 million Facebook users log into their accounts every single day. Every single week, 3 billion pieces of content are shared on Facebook alone, and Twitter has over 75 million user accounts. And while they're not all active, it's still quite a large number because the site's only been around for a couple of years. So Every second, at least 600 tweets are sent. And another stat worth noting is that LinkedIn has over 60 million users in hundreds of industries across the globe. So really, social media truly is here to stay. So what is it that you can do to stay in the game without wasting endless hours of time online, because there are millions of users on so many different sites that many people just think that you have to be on all of them, and it takes endless hours. But that's what this webinar is really here to address. So having a targeted social media campaign is really about having less sites to work on and having a highly targeted market, and also it kind of poses an issue that mass marketing tactics are likely not to work. So that's why it's really vital for the overall success to do some legwork in the beginning. So checking out others' suggestions in the industry is a large part of what I do to stay on top of social media trends, and it helps do part of the legwork for you, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. So this slide shows a couple of my favorites that I continue to come back to, including Guy Kawasaki, who I'm sure most of you are aware of. His strategies to building his large Twitter following really involve a lot of newsworthy tweets. So he tweets about what's going on in the world and on the web, and he even says that it's okay to retweet or to tweet things multiple times, maybe with a different title or a different just switching up your tweet a little bit, but it still is a good idea to do. So, and then next up, I also check out Jay Baer. He's a really great blogger. He's here in Arizona. I continually come back to his site and see what ideas he has cooking, and his helpful advice in building strategy for simple social media campaigns or complex social media campaigns. The Social Media Examiner. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and he's actually my personal favorite, so I'm really glad that you brought him up. He's great.
Yeah, and he's a really good guy to talk to, and he is not afraid to share like insider information that, a lot of tips and tricks and things, either blogging or with social media, that's always good. So another one is the Social Media Examiner. It's a great resource. I really like their post, 9 Simple Tips to Growing a Quality Twitter Following. It really discusses how to build a tweet plan, saving time and effort when you execute your social media strategy by really executing well tweets and maybe scheduling out some, but we'll discuss it a little bit later too, because I bring it up in further slides. So, and then last but not least, of course, is Dan Zarilla and his Science of Retweets that I was able to attend PubCon this year thanks to the wonderful Arnie Ken at Vertical Measures. So Dan Zarilla really talked about just the way that information spreads online. And he works over at HubSpot. He has a huge database of tweets, and he has Facebook posts as well. And he's working through that data to gather stats. And everybody loves stats. I know I definitely like stats, and you might, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I kind of tweet some stats every once in a while. And Dan maintains that retweets really are one of the more important developments in modern communication. He says that retweets are the first real window into how ideas spread from person to person, and it's completely true. You can really see kind of the echo effect. So figuring out the how and why of what spreads information will help you in the long run when you're really trying to work with clients in social media and be successful. Okay, so now that you're aware of some of the really great resources, these are all ones that I kind of continually to come back to, and there's so many more. It was really hard for me to narrow down just a couple on that one slide, but I want to discuss kind of what they all sort of have in common that helped me in developing campaigns for clients and those of us here at Vertical Measures. It seems to come down to like 6 things. Knowing your objective, figuring out who your audience is, planning out your message, having something really meaningful to say, setting goals, and then actually measuring those goals. And we've used these 6 basic premises to really build targeted campaigns. And we also add in some basic SEO principles, which have proven pretty successful for some of our clients. So I want to get into those in a little bit more detail. This next slide talks about figuring out what your true objective is. And so what is it that you really want to accomplish? A few common ones would be increased brand awareness or reputation management or maybe search engine rankings, which we all love here at Vertical Measures, and then increased visitor traffic, and then improving sales in the end is really what is most important, because that's, that's helping your bottom line. So I like this graphic because it really illustrates that social media is not just going for the gold right off the bat. You have to kind of engage users first and then not assume that purchase will happen right away, because if you do, it's not going to be really successful. So, and that's from search engine people. I have quite a few infographics in this presentation because I'm a geek for infographics and for statistics too. So I know Elise can, yes, can definitely agree. So, okay, so the next step is really knowing your options. Once you figure out your objectives, that's when it really comes into play. What you might think the targeted campaign you need to focus on maybe is Facebook or Twitter, but without doing your research, you really could be missing out on some niche sites out there that you that can really help you do what you want to do. So a simple search on Google for like niche social media sites, or say your industry is medical, so you could say niche medical social media sites. Doing a simple search will find a lot of blog posts and lists from many bloggers out there who keep up to date on what's going on. You just have to search and find out the pros and cons of each of them. So like, for example, if you had, again, a medical niche social media client that you wanted to look at, and maybe they weren't comfortable with Facebook or Twitter, or hey, maybe their demographic isn't on Twitter, maybe their prospective clients aren't there. Where are they? You can really look at a site like eyecarecafe.com, which is a pretty good one. If you're in the sports industry, active.com is pretty good. bx.business.com is another one that is for writers or for those in the business industry. And even looking at just existing search engine rankings for your company to see what's likely at the top. I know a lot of companies and brands have thought along the realm of more is better, and while it might be, with a targeted campaign, you should really focus on the one that is the best. So by looking at the search engine rankings and seeing which is on the top, likely Google is already weighing that site heavier than others. So in addition to that,
a lot of our clients are surprised to find that there are really thriving communities in smaller niche sites that are already talking about their brand that they aren't even aware of off the radar. So.
Yep, definitely. And until you really dive into those, you don't know. You have no idea, because they don't have search.twitter.com type of search engines, or you can't monitor those necessarily. And sometimes they will show up on, say, like socialmention.com or other social search sites, but sometimes they don't. So finding those true gems is really important. And once you do, I'm kind of a spreadsheet geek too, so I will put in everything into an Excel spreadsheet. I'll use QuantCast and look at and monitor like their demographics and the information that you can get from QuantCast, looking at the page rank and asking myself, does this site allow customized URLs for the profiles, or are the pages cached, and how many members are active on the site, and is there blogging available on the site? How about groups and discussion boards? Where can I really communicate with prospective clients? So that's always important to look at and keep track of in a spreadsheet, and then you have a lot of data, and that's always important. So, okay, so the guide on this next slide can really help you determine which social site to focus on based on your overall need and objective. I found it this past weekend, and I thought that it was pretty important and wanted to include it. You can see there's several options, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but it basically provides a varying degree of how much each of these social media sites provide communication, brand exposure, traffic, and then SEO benefits. And I've seen the first three, communication, brand exposure, and traffic, in an infographic, but not integrated with SEO benefits. So looking at those, you can kind of pick and choose which targeted, campaign you really think is best for you. So for that example, like the graphic shows that Twitter is good for customer communication and brand exposure, but only okay for traffic and SEO. If you're looking for a site that will yield your traffic, you might want to focus your efforts on dig or stumble upon instead of Twitter. Some of the information in the graphic is good, but others I don't really agree with, so it's kind of something that you need to look at not as the end-all be-all solution, but just a tool that can help you narrow down your list of targeted sites. So one of the things I don't agree with on here that you can make note of is that it says that Facebook is bad for SEO, and I just wanted to mention that not only are individual Facebook pages cached and ranked in Google, but individual notes are crawled and cached, and Facebook pages do have page rank. So, and with this, I'm talking about business pages, not necessarily profile pages, but these are, the public business profile pages. So, in my opinion, that in and of itself makes it okay for SEO that pages are cached and crawled, and that individual page rank is obtained on individual pages. So that's just something to keep in mind. But check out thedailyblogger.com, and you can find that cheat sheet. I thought it was pretty good. So, all right. So we know our objectives, and we kind of know some of our options, so then we can really dive into finding out who the audience is, and then determining, narrowing down even further that list of targeted sites that we're building to figure out, where we need to really be for the client or for ourselves. So let's see, this is another factor that you need to gauge with social media sites to really be targeted, is to really figure out who the audience is. And in this graphic illustrates that the social technographic profile of customers is really helpful in knowing how they interact online, and it can really help you with determining which site to utilize best. And it's kind of something that you really need to pay attention to, in the fact that to really understand your true demographic and true and really understand how to message to these people, to message to prospective clients, it's something that you want to really look at. So I also put up another infographic, again, more infographics, and this one shows age distribution, and it helps you to see basic information, but it's not an end-all be-all. So you can use it to see where a high concentration of users are located and determine if a site really is the right one for you to utilize based on the audience. So, for example, Bebo has 40 to 50% concentration of users under the age of 24. So, if that's something that you have found is your main prospective client, then definitely utilizing Bebo is a good idea. So
just to be clear, the last slide kind of illustrated where your audience or how your audience might be interacting with the internet overall, and this one illustrates more what sites based on age groups they might be interacting with, correct?
Right, yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, got it. Thanks for clearing that up. Okay, so this next slide is basically now that we're kind of narrowing down the targeted list and getting to a short list of where to go as far as profile sites to really target with. The next logical step, of course, is to go into the social media community and just start listening, because you really want to check out what people are saying, and also see if your competition is there. What sites is your competition using, and where are they? What are they doing? What are they saying? How are they interacting with their prospects? A few cool search commands are here listed. I don't know if many of you use search commands, but I do kind of on a regular basis, and it just helps you find information a lot quicker and easier, and it's pretty easy to find specific niche information when you're using some of these search commands. So. And by this point in the campaign, I'm usually have a clear idea of which targeted site to really target, and then we can get started with figuring out a messaging plan. So this next slide, I wanted to illustrate just, how important it is to plan out your message. And you can kind of get lost in social media pretty easily, so putting together a messaging plan is really important, and setting up a monthly schedule and system, much like an editorial calendar or even a blogging calendar if that's something that you have put together. Really think about it in the same way. So if you have to use systems to post-date messaging, but really don't rely on it solely, because we really want to keep it social. I mean, that's what this is all about. So also important is having something to say. You really want to engage your users and engage those who are out there, and the last thing you want to do is waste your time with meaningless messaging. So be aware of industry-related news and buzz, and just add to it, and don't be all self-serving. Really try to be an information source if that's really what your messaging plan needs to be. If it's for customer service, if that's your main goal, then really try to provide some sort of a service and help and assist to those who you're messaging to. So this also tends to help in your success, especially on Twitter. Being retweeted is a large factor in determination that Google has even said that they use to rank, to use in ranking. So it's how they can somewhat determine what is popular or buzzing at the moment. So coming back to Dan Zarilla again and his science of retweets, he states that over half of all retweets contain a link, so and of which Bitly is used most often. So it's okay to send a link, and it's okay to use that. Don't shy away from it, but just don't overly use it. He also found that retweets happen most often between the hours of 3 p.m. and midnight, and that Monday and Friday are the most retweetable days, Friday having the most volume of retweets. So this is important to know in planning out your message if your targeted site is Twitter, but it also kind of gives you a little insight into how usability is happening online, and even though those statistics aren't available for other individual sites, you can kind of still use it in your planning. So, and then as far as SEO goes, integrating your keywords into your messaging and remembering to drop a link, again, is pretty important, and you can utilize it to help. So, all right, so at this point, you pretty much set up your messaging plan, and you have something to say. You know where you're going to say it. You need to really establish what success is and how to measure that. If you're using Facebook, you should look at integrating Google Analytics on your Facebook page. It'll really help you gauge what traffic comes to your page, because that's not something that Facebook can do if say you have not a whole lot of fans and they're not allowing you to see insights or things like that. So you should also look at using short URLs like Bitly, and that will help you monitor click-through rates. Analytic tools like twinfluence.com to determine clout on Twitter, and other internal analytic tools on different social media platforms are helpful. It's important to make sure that you have a baseline established at the beginning of the campaign, and for our clients what we do is we monitor and report back to the client at the end of the month, every single month. We also keep track of their SEO, or we also keep track of their search engine rankings and normal ranking tools and normal SEO, as well as rankings in social search like socialmention.com and socialsearch.com. So that's pretty important to do as well. During execution, it's really important to save time whenever possible. You can really get stuck in social media and then think that it's this endless cycle and you aren't really providing a service, but you really can if you save some time. So I wanted to discuss a couple plugins that I use on a regular basis. Google Toolbar, which we all pretty much use. Mozbar from SEO Moz is a good one. Search Status, it lets you see cached pages and no-follow links and things like that. So that's important. Social media for Firefox is good, and Backtype is pretty good tool. So using platforms like Hootsuite is important. Anything that can help you save time and monitor in an easier fashion. I know that Elise and I are kind of brand advocates for Hootsuite, it seems like, because we're always talking about them. But Hootsuite really is awesome. They allow you to monitor not only Twitter, but Facebook and LinkedIn, now Foursquare and MySpace. They allow you to post-date your messages really easily. And again, you don't want to pre-schedule everything, but remember to stay social. And hey, if you have a promotion coming up and you know specific dates and you know specific information, then hey, why not just post-date a little information and save yourself the time just in case you forget or aren't available or are on vacation or who knows. So using tools like that are really a good idea. Getting email alerts like Google Alerts for your keywords, anything that you can get through email is important. Subscribing to different blogs. You can even subscribe to the Vertical Measures blog and just get those emails regularly and read those when you have at your leisure or on your downtime. Also important, I think, is Smart Brief. I learned this resource from Guy Kawasaki. And I use Smart Brief for social media. And every day they send me an email, or Monday through Friday, I guess. They send an email with the most important, or in their mind, the most buzzworthy social media posts from the day. So they could be blog posts, they could be articles, it could be whatever, but it keeps it in one email and it's sent to you. So that's just smartbrief.com, which is really, really helpful. And then using free applications. Buzzum is one that I use, buzzum.com for Twitter. It helps you delete users who don't follow you back or follow other ones in different industries. It's just kind of a Twitter management tool. So there's so many more out there. Oh, go ahead.
My favorite thing that you can use Buzzum for is you can search by keyword and look at bios of people who are already following you. So if they have something spammy or something about make money online, you can find them and delete them out of your followers.
Yeah,
and make sure you're not following them.
It saves so much time, and we all know that there's so many different Twitter tools that are out there, and they come out every single week, it seems like. And trying to stay aware of them and alert and know what they are is hard, but I've just these are just my ideas and ones that I kind of utilize every day. And there could be ones that are better that I'm missing out on, so definitely let me know, please. That would be much appreciated. We're in the same community together, so. All right, so we basically went over the basics of a targeted campaign, so let's kind of tie it back into search. And search engines use social media in determining their rankings. I don't know if everyone knows that, but it's definitely something that's been proven. And social mentions really do factor into search algorithms. And even Google has come out and said that they rank tweets individually, like for their real-time search, using reputation, and they use like keywords, and they know that hashtags kind of mean that a tweet is sort of spam or duplicate content. So they really do utilize those things. So if they're using it in real-time search, they're probably obviously using it in other areas too, in other areas of their search engine result pages. So in result pages, you'll also see like I said, real-time search on occasion, as well as social media profiles ranking high for brand names and sometimes for even keywords too. So individual tweets show up in SERPs, Facebook notes are showing up, and Twitter lists are too. And as well as for other niche sites, it's not just all about Twitter, Facebook, although I have kept coming back to those because they're kind of my favorite. So social media as a form of inbound link building is also proven beneficial to rankings. And then lastly, searchers aren't just using Google to find what they're looking for. They're utilizing search in social engines too. So social media really has changed search in quite a few ways. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how to optimize your social media pages. Social media optimization is important, and there are a few general rules to really remember. One of which is to be keyword conscious, really, really be keyword conscious. And as basic as it might be, it's one of those things that so many forget to implement, but it's just really important. Anytime that you can think to put a keyword in somewhere to optimize it somehow, just do it. So I use short URLs, and with Bitly, you can be keyword conscious with your short URLs. you can add text to your short URLs, and hey, maybe why don't you just put a keyword in there and utilize those specifically. And I don't have any proof that it's super important, or it helps and it increases your rankings this amount or anything like that, but it definitely helps.
It sure can't hurt.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Anytime that you can just use a keyword. I can't stress it enough. So also important is building the page rank of your profile pages. So some people aren't aware or might just not realize that each individual profile page, usually, if it's cached by Google, can pass some sort of, or has accumulated some sort of page rank. So if you're an avid commenter on blogs, remember to add a link back to your social media profile page. Or, if you have a website and you want to add a badge to your homepage, not only does that help to pass page rank, but it also helps to increase your fans and your friends and your followers. So, and then another thing is important is import your blog. Many sites allow you to do this, so just take advantage of it. Gain readers and exposure, and then it helps with getting some links back to your site. It might not be like direct links like with MySpace or with Facebook, but they're mentions at the very least. So, and then last but not least is fill out everything. And this is literally fill out just everything. Every key area on a page can serve as a place for Google to crawl. So if it's like for Twitter, your name, it can be the meta title of the page, and the profile is a meta description in search engines. So integrating keywords naturally in these areas always helps for, and it's consistent across the board, whether it's a Facebook or MySpace or a Bebo or a LinkedIn profile or whichever targeted niche site that you decide to utilize. So. All right, so getting the best of both search and social comes through promotion of great content in the end. And what is great content? It's content that will work to bring links back to your site. So this can be a top 10 list, it's case studies, statistics, satire, videos, contests, and so many different other items that you can use.
So basically anything that your audience would be interested with and find worthy enough to share and create a link and share out to the rest of the community.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Cool.
So using social media to promote, and you can see in this next graphic that, it really has a massive effect. It can after creation, it really can, excuse me, go viral, and it can be pretty awesome. So in this infographic, I'm showing how once content's created, or I'm not showing, I guess, Social Reflection is showing that once content is created, then it can be tweeted, it can be dug, it can be stumbled, it can be submitted to Reddit, it can be found by bloggers, written about, linked to your site, and then found by search engines. So this can create a potentially massive traffic flow to your site, and in addition to backlinks and search results, it can be really good for your site. And it can even be picked up on like AOL with 52 million unique visitors, or Yahoo 134 million unique. So it has the potential to really help and grow both not just on the niche site, but also within search engines. So, and then in this last infographic, I promise, as further proof that content is shared, you can see in this graphic that users that shared using the bookmark add to any mostly shared to Facebook, but are still sharing to other sites like MySpace and Buzz and Bebo and a couple others. And surprisingly, email is still a way that users are utilizing content sharing. So making sure that you are using bookmark buttons on your blog, or making sure that you have the ability to sign up via email is really important. So, and that's pretty much it for us. And so I know that there might be some questions that we can answer.
I'm going to go ahead and take the mouse back if that's okay. It looks like Alex is asking us where she can find the presentation after it's done.
Oh, okay, sure. We are actually recording it right now, and so Elise will set that up and email it to everyone who registered, and then it'll also be on our website at verticalmeasures.com/webinars. And we have a couple other webinars that are on there, and you can regularly go there and see an update of when our next webinars are, our previous ones, and get some more information about that. So.
And then it looks like I have a Steve asking you to repeat what was the name of that medical site that you referred to, the niche social site?
Yeah, it's called Eye Care Cafe, and I've used it a couple times for a couple different clients. They have some groups and they have discussion boards, and they allow you to blog on the site. They allow you to do quite a few different things, so it's a pretty good site to help with branding. It's always important, though, to look at the sites and read the small print that they have on there, because some sites like eons.com, which is for baby boomers, they do not allow companies to have branded profiles. So, you know, if you want to spend all the work and go on there for a profile that's going to be there temporarily for a couple months, that's always okay, I guess, but if you don't want to waste your time, you definitely need to look at that small print, and I have learned through experience on eons.com, but
great.
So,
okay,
yeah.
And then Nick is wondering, I remember you had touched on using Google Analytics for Facebook, and he wants to know if you've found a method of integrating Google Analytics into Facebook, and does it work well?
I only found out about it a couple weeks ago, so I really haven't had much experience with it. But we use it on Vertical Measures Facebook page, which is facebook.com/verticalmeasures, and it can be integrated into individual FBML boxes. And so if you know what that is, it's basically a box that you can have on your Facebook page that allows you to put in HTML text. So say you have a specials tab, or say you have another tab that I don't know, has suggest to friends, which is one that we have, or even if you know every user that's on Facebook is redirected to some special tab, putting the Google Analytics code on each of those pages will allow you to see how much traffic is going there and how they kind of got there and where they're going afterwards if you have links within that page. So it's definitely something that's helpful. But again, I haven't really tested it out very much, so there could be other tools out there. I just know that on the back end of Facebook, if you admin pages, you aren't allowed to see anything really regarding traffic. You can monitor how many insights, you know, or how many impressions that an individual status message received, but you kind of have to have a larger page with a lot of fans in order to have access to that data. So with Google Analytics, you can kind of get a gauge a little bit. And if you just search on Google and search for Google Analytics for Facebook, you'll find a couple blog posts that are about it, and it shows you the back-end code that you can get and put it onto your Google Analytics.
Okay. And it looks like we have a lot of people asking if you are going to have the references and different sites that you mentioned as tools available anywhere. One of them is asking about Buzzom, if you could spell that out for them.
Oh, sure. Well, Buzzom is buzzom.com. And I'm planning to do a blog post for next week, probably Monday. So if you go to verticalmeasures.com/blog and you subscribe to our blog, you'll be able to get full emails of our blog posts, and we have regular news and information, and I'll have a blog post that kind of details some of the resources that I gave, and maybe even throw in a couple extras. So we'll see if I can get approval on that.
And then it looks like a lot of people were really interested in niche sites. Can you talk a little bit more about how you find niche sites specifically for particular verticals or industries?
Yeah, definitely. The search tools that I usually use are just looking at what bloggers are kind of saying. So if I just search for, you know, token industry, niche social media sites through Google, just Googling it, or even checking out Yahoo or checking out Bing, you can really find a lot of different sites. There are tons of blog posts out there that list hundreds and hundreds of niche social media sites. And so then you just kind of have to go through, and it's like finding, where's Waldo, playing Where's Waldo, and going through I open them all in individual tabs, and then I'll look at page ranks and different individual characteristics that each of those niche sites have, running them through QuantCast and seeing how many people are actually, going to those sites on a regular basis. And then looking at those people that are on that site, where else do they go? And that's something that QuantCast will show you. And then just making a spreadsheet and keeping track of that information. And over the years, I've compiled a pretty big list. And whenever I get a client and I kind of start to go through the process of what it is that they're looking for, then I can go through there and utilize some of those sites. So like I said before, like iCare Cafe was a good one that I've used before. Active.com is a good one. I'm trying to think. The bx.business.com was one. There's just really so many. I mean, there's even niche social media sites that allow you to act as your pet. Like I think it's youpet.com, and you can have a social media site that's just a profile page that's just about your pets. So there literally is a niche social media site for everything, and it's important to just try to find them out there. So I know that it's probably a good idea that Vertical Measures writes a blog post about this.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, have some sort of a list, compile 100 different niche social media sites, or even 200. I mean, I literally probably have 200 to 300 different social media sites that are niche and that have some sort of characteristics that are good for SEO or are good for traffic or good for customer service. There's just so many different areas that they can really specialize in. So it all comes down to research, unfortunately. There's no real true, this is the answer and you have to use this, but
right.
That's kind of what I do. So
great. Okay, I do see a couple people asking questions, letting us know that there is some activity going on on Twitter using the hashtag SM4SEO. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we will go ahead and answer those questions after the webinar. I don't think either of us have any meetings directly after, so we'll hop on there and see if we can keep the conversation going there. So don't worry, we're not ignoring you. And then Annette had another one for you, Kayla. Regarding Hootsuite, what is your opinion of the use of the iframe that displays when a link is clicked?
Okay, so that's using the short URL Owly, and I don't use it anymore. Those links are 301 redirected, so it still is transferring. Now, there's some debate on that. I know that we had an employee here that he and I went back and forth about that. He didn't like it, and eventually I stopped using Owly. I mean, I know that with Hootsuite and the Hootlit button, it's really easy to set up messages. Like if you're on an article or a blog page and you just hit the Hootlit button, it pre-fills and everything for you. But I use Bitly, and Bitly has proven to me its wonders because I can integrate, like I said before, keywords in the short URL text. And not only is that good, I think, for SEO and link building, but also for just for remembering things. I mean, every time that Elise and I do some sort of promotion, we always make a custom hashtag or a custom Bitly URL, and it's so easy because then you don't have to think, okay, what was that address on our site? The URL for that site, and you can just put in the short URL and then it redirects and everything works. So they are 301 redirected, and it's. I just don't like using Owly, especially because I've found that over time, users really don't like that. They don't like that heading that's on there, and so eventually they'll just stop clicking Owly links. And you definitely don't want that. So
great. Also, Kelsey wants to know what you think about guest blogging and if you should incorporate writing blog posts for other sites as part of your social media marketing strategy.
Oh yes, I definitely think so. Guest blogging is a really good plan. Say that you have a competitor out there, and hey, they have a blog, and they allow guest blogging, and it's in the community, and you're helping others, and you're providing information, and They might even allow you to have a link back to your site. Well, that all helps. It not only does it help with branding you and your company, or even just you, it helps with link building too, and getting some link or getting some mention on someone else's domain is always a good idea, so long as it's not a spammy site, as long as they're not in a bad neighborhood, things, standard SEO things. But I definitely think that's a good idea, and I think it's Kelsey from the Social Robot who asked that question, and she has a really great site that has guest blogging opportunities, and I wrote a blog post on there once, so it shows up in my SERPs when you search for my name, so so it definitely proved helpful for me, I think. So
Great. Alex is asking, how useful do you think wiki pages and wiki wheels are for link building and SEO?
I haven't really played around a whole lot. I know that here our link building team definitely utilizes them for link building. Here we don't utilize it as a social channel. We kind of utilize it as a link building channel, but I definitely think that they're valuable. Like even some of those Wikipedia pages are monitored by a community, and so that community is going to take down stuff that's not supposed to be there, and that's not valuable, and that isn't going to be user-friendly, or isn't valuable just to the casual user that's reading it. So anytime that happens, Google knows, and they really trust it. It's a trusted source, and so it definitely can help for SEO.
Okay. We've got another question. What's the best way to build up a company's Facebook page and build their following? Do you have any?
That's a good question. It really depends on the niche, but always having something to say, planning out a message is really important, and trying to really engage. So if you find after 1 to 2 months that your normal messaging isn't working, then switch it up a little bit. Try writing something funny, or asking users questions, really trying to start to engage. And then, hey, maybe go to other pages and drop links back to your profile page. Like, don't do it spammy. Do it something that's regular. Go into a group and start interacting in the group, and then say, hey, if you are in this group, you might like to be a fan of such and such a site, and it might be a good idea to interact here, or even just sending a link back to a note that you wrote, like a funny link-worthy type of content that you put on your Facebook page, and put it in your note section. Grab that URL and stick it somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my biggest suggestion would be with all of the social sites, is content will drive it. If you've got good content on your blog or elsewhere, use it on your social sites. Add links, share it. That's what's going to build your following, because people will go back to you and share it with friends and refer you as someone with interesting, funny, good information, just like we would in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Or
and just
offline,
depending,
I should say.
Yeah, true. and just depending on whatever the industry is, if it's coming back to medical, if it's a medical community, and you're answering people's questions about cancer or something like that. Hey, why don't you interview some cancer survivors and put up their heartwarming stories, or even having like funny cancer jokes. I mean, that might be too off the cuff, so be wary of that. But there's so many different things that you can do to really try to engage. But it's really understanding who you are talking to that will help you develop a plan and do it successfully.
Do you recommend using multiple accounts for a single client or business from a BART?
I do. Like, this presentation was just basically about targeted, and that you really can still be successful with targeted for in regards to SEO, but a lot of people will utilize, a lot of brands will utilize many different sites. And if you know that your main demographic is on like 4 to 5 or 6 different sites, then yeah, open up a couple accounts and maybe spend I mean, I wouldn't suggest going onto a site and not really providing any information and just having a basic profile and not doing anything with it. That doesn't, I mean, it serves a purpose in that it can be an inbound link building, tactic, but it doesn't provide a social service. And so if you're really trying to engage and do more than just help your rankings, then it's kind of important to actually engage. So if you have the time, oh yeah, go for it. Try to get on a couple of those, and you might find after a couple months that, hey, maybe only 2 or 3 of these sites actually work, so let's get rid of like 6 of them. And you don't want to get rid of them, you just aren't going to be on there regularly. But yeah, I would definitely say that kind of varying it can help. So I've found, though, just 3 to 4 sites usually work for one client. I think that's the most that we've ever really maintained. So.
Mm-hmm. And then Steve's asking just to remind us to email attendees links to all the great infographics and stats that you gave. So I just want to remind everyone we're going to try and put together a blog post. So subscribe to the blog and keep an eye on that, and you should be able to find that information coming up soon there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would love to provide that because, I mean, like I said before, I'm a geek for infographics and stats, so I am all about giving that information to anyone who wants to know because it's cool. I don't know why,
yeah.
but I really like it a lot. So
it's an addiction, I know.
Yes, it is. I like pretty colors.
Yeah, pretty colors. Okay,
I know.
So I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Again, I just wanted to thank everyone for attending. There was a lot of great information that Kayla gave us. And follow us at @ClickKayla and @RedlandCook and @VerticalMeasure. And we'll be checking into that hashtag SM4 SEO in just a few minutes here, and we'll see if we can answer you some more questions there. Thanks again.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay.